I just do think there needs to be more emphasis placed on the value of a stay-at-home mom who is successfully raising the kids and homeschooling, because the amount of money you'd be spending on childcare and education if you send them to a private school
it's free. What are you talking about?
No, if you send them to private school, it's not.
Private school.
No,
first of
let's
all,
talk about before they
first
even...
of all, public schools, right? You put them on a school bus. If you're under the income threshold, they get a free lunch. They get free breakfast in many of them. They get free extracurricular activities. You have to get them some backpacks and shit. Low-income people, almost everything is subsidized for them when it comes to schooling. Almost everything.
Well, public schooling isn't really free because your taxes are paying for it, and you're costing them the rest of their life and being indoctrinated.
Let her finish.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a matter of what you value more. Do you value having a wife who's going to be at home and be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool them and give you that better education? I just think there needs to be more emphasis placed on that, because I knew growing up a lot of us didn't value those moms that were stay-at-home moms, and that's a fallacy. Like, most
low-income people, first of all, don't pay property taxes. Okay, they may be affected by them, but they don't pay them because they don't own property. Okay, poor people don't own property. They're not paying property taxes. When the levies get passed, they're getting passed by people who don't own property because they're outnumbering the property owners. Okay, that's one. Two, all of them, if they're under the income threshold, it's all free, and the lunches are free. Everything is completely subsidized for them.
What
totally
about the
subsidized.
first 5 years of their life before they go to school? Because daycare is not free, even if you're low income.
Them, and you're at home. What are you homeschooling them to do at 5? Watch Sesame Street?
What do you mean? My kids are already, my 3-year-old is already preschool ready, because you do Montessori type homeschooling. You can absolutely preschool them at young ages. No, it's not.
Yeah, what's preschool?
What do you mean?
What do you learn to do preschool? How to lick glue?
My 3-year-old knows all his letters and the sounds of each. He knows phonics. He knows how to count. He knows.
Your 3-year-old can't read.
No, but he knows phonics.
Yeah, because he probably watches a show where he memorized A, B, C, D, E, F, G all day.
Definitely
You're not teaching a 3-year-old massive skills.
Yes, I am. Their entire. Do I not?
Our kids are.
I literally lesson plan for them.
Mm-hmm.
Their room is a preschool.
Great.
But that's not the point. The point is the first 5 years you do have to pay for daycare, and it costs more.
No, not if you have a stay-at-home wife.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point she's making.
What's the point?
That's the benefit, and you're trying to say, well, school's free. It's not.
No, that's
for
a
the first
gift to
5
her.
years.
She gets to stay home with them the first 5 years.
And it's a gift to him as well.
No, that's not a gift to him.
He doesn't have to pay for daycare.
Wait, okay, let's back up. Okay, do you think that if the roles could be reversed, right? Like, let's say the average man, okay, a woman was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go and work my fucking ass off every day so that you can stay home with the kids. Do you think that that's a better or worse deal for them? Actual deal.
I would be happy to do one or the other. I don't care which one. I don't want to do both anymore.
Better or worse deal for him?
For him? Yeah, he doesn't have to work.
That's right.
But it's also good
for
her.
So hang on, so it's a better deal for you because you don't have to work.
Why don't you want to do it then?
I think the point is that it's equally beneficial, and that
it's not equally beneficial.
I think it is, and I think that whoever the stay-at-home partner is who's investing in the kids often goes underappreciated, which I think is her point. And that's what she's trying to bring awareness to.
No, I don't think they're underappreciated. I think that there's an overemphasis put on them over the working father. And that the truth is that the working father is the one who enables all this to begin with and is giving the greatest gift in the world to a mother, which is those first 5 years, you know they're not coming back. You never get them again. You already miss your 3-year-old. You miss when they were 1, and you're already thinking about all the shit that they did at 1 that you miss. Oh, I miss when they did that. I miss when they did this. Now they're getting so big. You had the great gift of being there for that entire spread of time.
Yes.
And it's like, what does he get? Nothing.
To save money.
Not really. By the way, if he's under a certain threshold, right? You get all sorts of subsidies for daycare too.
No. Listen, I am a single mom and I don't get shit.
Well, you could be over the income threshold, and it could be.
I am literally.
Do you realize that this is based around where you live as well?
Okay, but then you can't make a generalized statement when the benefits that people think exist are not there for single moms or single parents in general, or even
come on, you get EBT, you get WIC, you get all kinds of shit.
I did not get working. I got denied for WIC. I got denied for TANF.
Because you were over the income threshold?
I don't know why the hell I was denied, because I'm not.
Okay, but anyway, but you weren't supposed to be, is the point. And so it's like, look, subsidies, you're subsidized to all get out. Okay, if you're single and you have kids, you get all sorts of subsidies. Okay. The man is, again, giving you gift, allowing you to stay at home.
Well, no one is disputing that.
Yeah, they are.
No, I'm not. In this room, is anybody? I think at this table we all agree. Yeah,
you're saying there needs to be more of an emphasis put on her.
No, I think that, well, sure, men should be appreciated for working more, and honestly, especially, and I can even admit this with my marriage. I didn't always have a great appreciation or even understanding for how much work my ex-husband was putting in.
Bet you do now.
Yeah, no, I definitely do, and I can own that. However, I think both parties should be appreciated, and maybe neither are, but we can talk about both, and we don't have to deny one to appreciate the other.
There's no denial.
Okay, yeah, you did.
No, it's not a denial. Listen, it's not a denial of there's value here. In fact, I made specifically sure to clarify and say, I didn't say it's not valuable. I said it's not as valuable.
I feel like in the economy
that's subjective.
Yeah, I don't think it's subjective. I think that let me just ask you this. Let me just ask you this then, right? If you had the luxury of being able to stay at home, because you haven't been able to, right, with your kids. Right? Would you?
Yeah.
In a second?
Yes.
Would you do anything you could possibly do to have that luxury?
Oh, I don't know.
Within reason.
Like, I'm not going to settle for someone I don't want for that.
So you wouldn't sacrifice for it. But I think that there are people, women, and I think most women actually would because
maybe they would.
You can't get that. You got to work.
Right, but I'm not going to live inauthentically, and I don't want to set an example to my kids that they have to live a lie either. But
yeah, I'm sure they'll thank you for outsourcing their care when they're older.
Well, they're great right now. I'm just stressed the fuck out. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you this: if I ever am in a position to be I did it the first time though. But some women don't do this. It's crazy. I will see some stay-at-home moms that don't even clean the fucking house.
Yeah,
which is wild.
Yeah.
So I do think
they're pretty enabled.
If you're in that position, like, you should appreciate it. It is a blessing. And, rub his feet, bro.
Yeah, but they don't.
I know, yeah, and I don't think that's right.
And so, again, highly underappreciated. And, yes, I think there is an overemphasis even by feminists who say, oh, no, we should start valuing stay-at-home moms again. It's like, okay, great. But never hear any emphasis on working fathers and that it's actually a gift they're giving these women to allow them to stay at home with the children.
I feel like in this economy right now, too, I know many of my friends their husbands are requiring them to work, at least working from home while they have kids, too.
I would be single.
So I'm just curious how that would play in, because for financial stability, just because it's so difficult right now on one income.
They're requiring a small part-time job while they're still at home, so what?
No, full-time, but from home.
Full-time from home? Mm-hmm. Well, that's a different story then. Now you have a different requirement. The thing is, though, is we're not discussing whether or not you have a working wife at home who's working full-time from home, and that wouldn't create dynamics which are different. We would all concede that that's true. We're talking right now on a woman who's staying at home and is given the gift of being able to take care of her kids. Should she submit to her husband or not? And the idea here basically is like, if she wants to.
But because there are so many women,
I think in most ways.
But see, from my perspective, though, right, and we'll get to this in just a second, I promise. I just want to finish this combo.
No worries.
From my perspective, it's like, well, then why would he want to get married to you and have you stay home with the kid? Like, why would they do it? It just seems so stupid to me. Like, that's why these secularists are like, look, Andrew, give me the great reason to get married. I'm like, I can't, because you're going to get married to a chick, and she's going to be like, I'm Gerard, and I love you, and I'm going to submit, I'm going to obey, and blah, 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 blah. And then he's going to go work, right? And she's not going to obey shit. She's going to divorce him. She's going to take half his shit, and she's going to leave him, kind of up shit creek without a paddle. So I'm just like, well, you could do that, or you could just kind of, well, I don't know, check out
both ways, though,
out of the secular. Well, not really. Not if I look at the stats. It doesn't go both ways.
I'm a perfect example of how that does not always play out.
Again, you can't point to every outlier.
I know, but I don't think it's as big of a thing as you think it is these days. And maybe it's just a Texas thing, and I'll admit that, because I don't know how.
That in Texas, they don't want stay-at-home moms who obey? Okay, tell me another.
No. In
tell
Texas,
me something else.
Well, first of all, there's like objective stats that men benefit from marriage more than women do. When it comes to their health, when it comes to their financial stability.
Erroneous.
Yeah, look it up.
Erroneous.
Yes. No. This is all true, but
their social status.
You have some pretty major flaws with it, though.
Okay, and they are?
Yeah, let me start with the first one, which is, men they earn more money when they're married. Yeah, because they have to.
Right, okay.
So what they end up having to do is work longer hours, right, instead of shorter hours. And because they work longer hours, they're at work more, so they do less high-risk behavior than when they work shorter hours and they're having a ton of fun. So if you were to ask...
Does that change the benefit, though?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what's the benefit here. That
they have a longer life. They have better health.
Hang on. That men take slightly more risk because they work less hours and are having way more fun, or they can't afford to take slightly more risk because they have to pick up way more hours at work to take care of other people who aren't them. You tell me.
It's not the only variable, but I think having a long life and better health and more money, and maybe we can argue the money part.
Well, first of all, and by the way, you're not including the religious stats here, and that the number one correlate between happiness and marriage is religion and how religious you are. When you're talking about secular marriages, all of these other correlates that you're talking about, which do increase, they increase much, much less. And it seems to me, again, that, you can take less risk. You can take less risk and work way more hours so that you can support the family, or you can work way less and take more risk.
But in any given scenario, we can add a million variables to go off course. The point is, there are benefits to marriage. There are objective benefits to marriage for men that outweigh those to women.
In some groups.
For some men
in some groups.
It's just well documented. And
yes, and I'm giving you the well documented parts.
Okay.
Because I picked these studies apart.
So there's those benefits. It's also a benefit to not have to do the cooking, to not have to do the cleaning, to not have to worry about running all the errands.
You get a fucking maid. What are you talking about?
You have to pay for it.
You know how cheap it is to have a maid versus a stay-at-home mom?
Not really, because I'm a residential cleaner and I cost a lot of money.
How much do you cost? $200 a week?
No. What?
To come into one house and clean one house?
Is way different than that.
No, I never charge less than like $40 an hour.
Okay, so how long does it take you to do your cleaning? 4 hours?
It depends on what kind of cleaning it is, but we're not just talking about cleaning. We're talking about errands. We're talking about childcare.
Okay, hang on,
we're talking about cooking. We're talking about meal planning.
Back up. Great. Meal planning, you can get all of your meals online planned and literally shipped to you now.
Ew.
That's one.
How many people do, though? That's
gross.
Tons, especially bodybuilders. But the second thing is, it's like, it's not really fucking hard to cook. Super easy, especially if you're just cooking for you. Especially if you're just cooking for you.
And then the
third thing is like, no, maids are not expensive to come in and clean your house. I'm sorry. I have one professionally come in and clean my house once a month. It's not very much money. Not very much money. It takes them 4 hours. They're out. And they do a really good job. So it's like, it's not very expensive.
So, hold on. You have a wife? Does she work?
Well, yeah, she does now.
Okay.
Yeah, slightly.
Did you have a maid when she didn't?
No, of course not.
Okay.
The only reason I have a maid is because they do a deep clean. Deep detail clean.
Okay.
What does your wife do? I'm just curious.
She's an author.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm curious, though, harkening back to earlier when you were talking about obedience, when you have a husband that in this economy is requiring his wife to also work full-time from home, how would that play into, how much say she should have in their children and in just household in general?
Hang on, repeat that because I want to make sure I get it.
So when you have a situation where the wife is being required to work by her husband because it's financially more stable in this economy, how would that come in being more submissive, the woman, when she's working, equal hours?
Yeah, so the idea here generally, I would think that you'd want the idea to be working around the children, right? And so this idea is supposed to be temporary. I think if you have temporary work, like we're in a bind or we need X or whatever, that, okay, you're making the sacrifice for a year or two, but he's still going to be out there working for the whole life, right? So it's like, sure, you can make some temporary sacrifices, but I'm not really sure, again, how that's more valuable than what he's doing.
I don't think anybody's saying it's more. I just think you're saying that it should be noticed, and I don't think that it is very much.
Or like the level of input that the woman has in the relationship should maybe increase depending on if she's doing equal amount of work.
Yeah, no, I still don't. I still think that it should be stuck under the patriarchate. But here's the thing. Let me create a differential here. The first differential is, under a secularist form, I don't give a shit, right? Like, I literally don't care. If you're a secularist, I can't even make an argument for why you should do anything, to be honest with you. But if you're in a Christian marriage, yeah, she still has to submit. She still has to obey. Like, I'm sorry, but that is Christianity. You still have to submit, you still have to obey, even if you're working. Now, if you're a secularist, you want me to give you a secular argument? Sure. Be equal. Be equal with that chick and do equal stuff and give her equal access to your bank account. Do whatever you want to do. But, yeah, that's not going to fly in a Christian marriage.
No, I definitely agree, because most of the time when the woman does have to put in work in a marriage, specifically biblical marriage, it's usually just temporary. It's not a forever thing. It's just certain circumstance.